All right, welcome back from Earl Grey to English breakfast.
English breakfast is my favorite.
That's your favorite?
Yeah.
All right, I like a green tea.
Oh, you do?
There's herbal options here too. So tea lovers, you're gonna love Cuppa-CT in Avon.
Yeah, we sent Renee Danino to check out the new shop where you can find a cuppa for yourself or someone you love. Hey, Renee, how's it going?
Oh, good morning, you two. I will make sure to bring you back some lovely tea, but we are spilling the tea here in Avon at Cuppa-CT, where you can find beautiful vintage teacups and more with owner Nan Thompson. I am so excited to be here. This place is beautiful.
Thank you so much. I'm so glad that you're visiting.
So if someone is coming here and they want to throw the proper tea party, what are our first steps?
First steps are to learn what you need to have, and this is a great place to start. These are vintage teacups that I collected over the last few years, and they're all for sale, and they're all ready to be used. So,
and look at this one, it says mother on it. I don't know if you can see that. That's a great little gift for mom right there. And you actually sell from fascinators to more vintage items, everything someone might need for that perfect tea party. Where do we start? I mean, the tablescape, the teapot, what?
I would say that you would start with how to make the tea, and the tea is available here. I sell 19 different types of honey tea, and it's a very high quality tea that I sold in my tea room, Take Tea, that I owned for 3 years, and people can come here and buy it and take it home, and that would be the great start for their tea party.
And in fact, she has a whole wall of tea that you can see here, and we're going to come on over here to a beautiful vintage teapot where there's an art form to serving tea in a vintage teapot, because you don't want to break it. So come on over here and show us exactly what's the proper way to brew in a vintage pot.
Okay. Well, the thing that you'd want to do first is you'd want to heat it up, because you don't want to pour the proper temperature water into a vintage teapot and then have the pot itself take some of the heat away. So I always warm my teapots first. When you're using a vintage teapot, you need to be very careful, because it can craze if you put boiling water in there. But heating the teapot is always step number one.
So I don't know if we're putting this in the microwave, right? Or on top of the stove. I mean, how do you, I would be so afraid. They were like, oh, touch the teapot, Carrie. I'm like, if you break it, you bought it. And anyway, I would buy something, but I don't want to break it. But how do you properly and safely warm up a vintage teapot?
Right. So what I would do is I would put this on something heat resistant. In this case, we have a teapot trivet that's the right size underneath. And I would pour hot water in there, maybe not boiling water. You can tell if you look at vintage teapots which ones have been misused or used too much, because they have crackling inside and they're not safe to use.
This store is gorgeous. I don't know if we can get sort of like a wraparound view, but there's so many vintage teacups. There's so many vintage items here that you've collected over the years. And of course, all of these teas here. Let's walk over to the wall here. And of course, this tablescape. We're actually going to throw a little tea party in our next segment. But if you are buying something, we'll say vintage, but antique, are there certain things to stay away from that we shouldn't use, maybe even drink out of?
Yes, and it's the same rules I follow that anyone would follow if they had a restaurant or a tea room. You can't use anything, you shouldn't use anything that has crazing, that has cracks, that has chips, only because of your own safety.
Yeah.
But they still can make a beautiful display. There's many things you can do with your teacups. So.
And we are wrapping soon, but I do want to throw this in. Your son is on the autism spectrum, and in your previous business, Jonathan was a fan favorite, and you have actually created this so that you all have something to do together.
That's right. When I retired again and sold the tea room this winter, I wanted to have something that John could do, and he can do a lot of things. So he's helping me. He's doing some of the bookkeeping, believe it or not, and he comes and he's my buddy. He's connected to me at the hip or the elbow.
At the elbow. Well, he helped us carry in this beautiful tea party that we are going to throw in our next segment. So I hope you join us over on the wax. We've got scones, we've got tea sandwiches, and we're going to have some good old-fashioned tea from Cuppa-CT in Avon. I'll throw it back to you guys and put in your tea orders, and I'll be happy to bring them to you.
All right, thanks, Renee. Yeah, it does look really good. Unbelievable. I love tea. I love biscuits. I love anything to do with it.